Hey, this is Peter Dankelson from Pete's Diary, and you're listening to Tom and Zeus on the Shout It Out Loudcast.
And reports tonight on how destruction is impacting the campus community.
Names of O'Hara Hall, Skid Row, T-Zone, Banff.
Badass motherfuckers.
Somph, sit on my face.
Drinking like fucking ass pre-gaming, as we call it. What is this dorm damage bill on our tuition statement?
Dorm damage?
Well, we only broke like 3 chairs and 4 desks this month.
Is that a positive thing? Bam! That's right. We're back with another spooky edition of Dorm Damage, the show where anything and everything is on the table and the table gets smashed. This is episode 116, Zeus. It's officially Halloween season. It's October. What are we doing this time?
We thought we'd do something different.
Yeah.
I think I ran out of movies to talk about, so
I don't mind. I love this.
So we decided let's do a review of the old Universal horror movies, and we're going to start with what I think is probably the most popular and biggest, and that's the 1931 Universal Dracula.
Yep. So whenever you talk about the Universal monsters, obviously it's usually Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Mummy, whatever, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Invisible Man, like those kind of like legends. So yeah, I like this idea because for the last few years we've been doing like top 10 movies, or this year's top 10. So I like this switch, and like we always do with Shout It Out Loudcast and Dorm Damage, we like to mix it up and keep things fresh. So I like this. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start with Dracula. So it was released February 12th, 1931 in New York City. 2 days later, it was released throughout the United States, February 14th, 1931, starring the legendary and iconic and the only true Dracula, Bela Lugosi, directed by Todd Browning. And let's get into it. I mean, what do we think of this movie? We're talking almost 100 years old, and people are still talking about this, the impact and the legacy and the thrill of it, I guess.
So one of the things that I'll probably be bringing up on the next ARC is this Netflix documentary, and they call them Titans. This one is Titans: Rise of Hollywood.
Yep. Okay.
So I watched that documentary, and it's all about how the studio stuff ran and how in the beginning it was Thomas Edison and his crew people that wouldn't let film come out. So I watched how it grew from just that monopoly into then the silent movies and then the Hollywood studio stuff. And the guy that produced this movie was the center of it, and he's the character that narrates that documentary. Okay, and his name is Carl Laemmle. I hope I say it correct. Carl Laemmle. He was instrumental in what we now know as movies. The big thing about this is the fucking jazz singer just came out like 4 years ago.
Yep.
And how everybody was like, oh, we can't do talking movies. That's terrible. And how they try to get sound to play on a different track than the movie, and how they finally got into it. This is 4 years removed from that.
Yep.
Okay. And all the studios were they thought, no way, we want silent. We don't want this shit. And then once they saw how the jazz singing and all that shit picked up, everybody wanted to try to get sound, talkie movies.
Yep.
This is right there. And was Universal, and Carl Laemmle kind of did with with his studio to differentiate. He went into the horror stuff.
Yep.
And these horror classic movies. So Dracula was his, and he produced it, and it's fucking fascinating how far they've come in just such a short time. And what's great about it, and you'll see it in the movie and the actors, they still have a lot of these actors and the directors like silent movie tendencies. If you watch the movie, and you'll get what I'm saying, where there's long pauses, long stills of somebody, no one's doing anything. When they cut down and you see what's his name? Renfield. And he's just got that crazy look on his face, and it just zooms on him.
On the ship, yeah.
This is silent movie shit. I don't want to get too deep into it now, but I'm just want to make that point. This is where we are right now, and this is 1931.
Yeah, another huge thing I noticed too, on top of what you just pointed out, is that this is it's a very deliberate movie. You kind of hinted at that. And the other thing about this too, and again, it's 1931, it's very stagey. Mm-hmm. Like you can't, there are certain scenes where you feel like you're watching like a Broadway show, because obviously set pieces and sound design and things weren't sophisticated enough. So when they do a lot of like scenery, it's like almost like 2D, people coming into a room, people talking, and then the next scene is another room. You know, obviously every movie does that, but this felt very Broadway, very playish.
Because this, I mean, Bram Stoker's Dracula came out in 1897. There's different versions of it.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we'll do Nosferatu at some point, and they did a remake of it. That was the unauthorized version.
That's right. Yep.
Of Dracula.
Dracula. Yep.
So it got banned afterwards because they didn't have the rights to it.
Yep.
He got the rights to Bram Stoker, but they based it on the play.
Yes.
And Bela Lugosi was the actor in the play.
That's right.
Hence got the role.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a little background.
No. But you can tell that too. And I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to continue to talk about that, but yeah, Bela Lugosi came from that environment. And again, we're talking 1931. Motion pictures were still kind of a novel thing. But I will say that for this movie, there are some fucking amazing set pieces. Like I'm a horror guy, and there are some scenery and set pieces that almost 100 years later to me are just fucking timeless.
Yeah, we talked about it when I did the our list. I picked Dracula as one of it. Yeah. That scene where you first come to him, and then the three wives come out.
Dude, whoever's
cinematographer, the director, that's fucking iconic.
That singular scene, I was going to get to that, but you brought it up, so we'll jump on it. That singular scene of the three wives, and the way that their gowns are flowing, and the way that they're moving, where it's almost like they're floating, like you can see the inspiration in movies nowadays from watching this and watching the way scenes are shot, the way the set pieces are framed, and you can tell that just by looking at this movie.
And the quietness of that scene.
Well,
that's and then there's no sound.
Well, that's the other huge thing I noticed about this too, because I love like movie scores. I'm like a dork like that, but I specifically love good horror movie scores. You know, whether you're talking about Halloween or Psycho, or I mean, even honestly, some of the Friday the 13th movies, but some other obscure movies. There's like no music in this at
and
all.
The music was big in the silent stuff. They had real orchestras.
That's
eventually
right.
They started going into it and try to put that orchestral music with it.
There are so many scenes in this movie that I feel I watch and I'm like, okay, I can't tell if this scene is creepier because it's completely silent, or if there was a score, would it add to it? I don't know. Sometimes the silence is like unsettling.
The mirror scene when he knocks down the mirror.
Yeah.
When Dracula knocks down the mirror. Yes. That would usually be dun dun.
Like, there'd be like a big like violin, like like something. Yeah.
Right?
So or even the scenes of like just people, just like him opening the door and like prowling, or just him approaching the woman before he starts to suck her blood. Like complete silence. I found that almost menacing as a horror fan.
Yeah. So Dracula, you know, there's many myths, but a lot of the stuff about Dracula in the movies and stuff in pop culture come from this original, basically adaptation of this original movie of the Dracula legacy. It's not Bram Stoker's Dracula. They moved a few things around. So basically you have Renfield, who's like I don't know whether, because this is England, like solicitor instead of attorney.
I think that's what he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Travels to Transylvania to sign to get Dracula the lease on this place in London. And when he gets there, you see all the Hungarian villagers. I think Borat's in one scene.
Yeah.
But like all the Hungarian people are like overreacting and overacting about like he's gonna
can't
go. See
go.
Dracula. Yeah. And wear a cross, and everyone's like, "Oh no!" And he's like the typical British. What is ever the matter? Why is this a problem? No problem.
I'm just going to the castle.
Oh, silly superstitions.
Yeah,
and if you see like Dracula and Bela Lugosi and all the Hungarian actors, they look like fucking Gene and Gene's dad. Have you ever seen a picture of Gene's dad that Gene puts up?
Okay, I'm glad you brought
just like Bela Lugosi, Hungarian Jewish. I mean, I don't know if they're related.
I'm glad you brought up Gene because we know that Gene's influence and impact, especially with the creation of the demon character and mannerisms, comes from these classic movies, these Universal movies, comic books. There are certain scenes where I'm like, that's a Gene-ism right there. Like the way that Bela Lugosi is moving his body right now, that's kind of like Gene shit when he's doing something, whether it's God of Thunder or the way he's just kind of prowling on stage. I'm like, that's a Bela Lugosi move.
Yeah, in which it's funny because Bela Lugosi was a stage actor and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
But if Lon Chaney didn't die in 1930, he probably would have been playing Dracula.
I mean, Lon Chaney's fantastic.
That's who they wanted to, but he died.
Right. And we'll eventually get to the movies with him. But yeah, I mean, you talk about iconic characters. Now, granted, there's other Draculas. I mean, people talk about that. There's a 1979 version of Dracula where Frank Langella plays Count Dracula. And then, of course, you got the Hammer versions of Christopher Lee. And Christopher Lee, ballsy guy that he is, he kind of shits on Bela Lugosi's portrayal. He thinks it's a little shticky and, kind of
up. Yeah. Now, so the story goes, he needs to meet Dracula at Borgo Pass. The villages, this ominous, like, fucking, take this cross, take this. So he gets there. He meets the carriage, right? And what's great is you can tell that that's Bela Lugosi's the driver. He doesn't talk to him, puts him on. And then eventually he says, hey, driver, when he's in Dracula's, because he meets Dracula's carriage, and Dracula's carriage is going to carry him to the castle. He looks up, and there's the most ridiculous looking bat for a movie prop.
But you gotta, I mean, honestly, you laugh at it, and it is comical, but this is almost 100 years ago. I mean,
I know.
I get it. I mean, you have to imagine being in a theater or being wherever and seeing it and being like, like people, like the horror on people's faces. Yeah.
So basically, Dracula is the bat, and the bat is driving to the castle. Yeah. So he gets out and he meets Dracula. Dracula opens the door. He sees him, and it's Bela Lugosi, and he starts to talk with that Hungarian accent.
That scene is that staircase and the way he comes down and that frame, that way that is shot. And all I could think about was the Count from Sesame Street, because it's exactly what he fucking sounds like.
What I think of is young Frankenstein and close.
Yeah.
Stay close to the light.
Yeah.
The staircase can be treacherous.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny because he walks through, but then Renfield needs to take his cane because all the spider webs, right?
That's right.
And then he says that line, the famous line that he says at the staircase, I think.
Children of the night, what wonderful music they make.
Are you ready to rock?
I was just going to say that. Children of the night. Yeah, then it's the White Snake, the David Coverdale playing Renfield. Like,
I was just going to go, he goes, ow, 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 ow. But that's Bad Boys, isn't it?
Oh, God, yeah, exactly.
But then he goes up, and then you see that big, humongous bedroom. There's like the fucking chicken on a rotisserie there.
Dude, that fireplace is the size of like a 2-car garage. Like, it's like,
just like
I love it.
Filming it. And that ancient gas. Imagine being in that fucking place.
I was kind of annoyed. And if you haven't seen this movie in a while, you forget that there's only like 5 minutes take place in that castle.
Yeah.
Because then they just take off for London.
So he gives them the stuff to sign, and the back and forth question. I never drink wine.
Wine. Yeah.
And so they talk about it. This wasn't in the movie. I mean, this wasn't in the book or anything like that. They stole it from Nosferatu,
Yep.
where Renfield cuts himself and Dracula sees the blood.
Oh,
and then the
he gets
close up on his eyes.
Yeah. That's the other thing. Those shots that they do where they zoom in on Bela Lugosi's face and it's just his eyes are kind of lit up. It's everything is in shadows. Like there's a lot of those menacing face shots.
I mean, we could talk about that for hours. Of like the shots in the castle, the black and white, the cinematography.
Yep.
It's just gorgeous and legendary to this day. So basically, he drinks something and he opens the door. He sees the bat in the bedroom. Then he passes out. And then the 3 fucking wives come out.
That scene is fucking awesome, dude.
And then basically fucking Dracula shoos him off and they close it on him kind of going down and giving him a French kiss.
And then he becomes the Renfield that we all know.
Oh, my God. I mean, you got to say something about him, Renfield, the actor.
The guy is spectacular.
Yeah.
I mean,
White Fry.
He plays a madman wonderfully, like perfectly.
For that time frame,
it's incredible
like
acting.
Maniac.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, and I believe Dwight Fry, it's not a coincidence, ends up playing basically. Well, they have a different name for him in it. Instead of Igor, it's Fritz, I think they call him.
Fritz
from Frankenstein.
That's right.
Great pick, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, he's that fucking good.
Yep.
Great character actor. And so, anyways, he passes out. Next thing you know, they use stock footage from an old movie.
I love that.
Of the ship. And it's the same thing. And you can tell like that stock footage from something else.
Oh, yeah.
And basically they show up in London, but everybody's dead. Yep. And they open up the hatch because they can hear him. And then that shot shooting down, looking at fucking
so good
at Renfield.
He's just having like a mental breakdown. And then it goes to like the headline of the newspaper.
Yep. And which is short, silent movie stuff.
That's right.
They would move the scene along.
That's right. Yep. Move the scene along without dialogue. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, so basically then they start cutting to the other main characters of the movie.
Yeah. So this is when you start to meet Dr. Seward. He's the guy running the sanatorium. You start to meet Professor Van Helsing, which is obviously a legendary character. You meet Mina. You meet all these characters.
Lucy,
you meet Mina's fiance, John Harker. Yeah, you meet Lucy.
But then you see him walk in the streets of London, which is really cool, dressed up.
Oh, yeah.
And then he attacks the flower girl first.
Yep, that's right.
And then somehow he meets them at an opera house. Is it? I think something like that.
Yeah, right? like a playhouse. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. And then he introduced himself to Seward, saying, "I bought the place next door." And then and Lucy's like infatuated with him, and now he's part of the character. Then what happens?
Yeah, and then that night, Lucy's fascinated by Dracula, and obviously, Dracula is too. So that night, he enters her room, feasts on her while she's asleep. The next day, there's an overhead shot of her, kind of like in an operating room, like a hospital room. And they're talking about it. She went through blood transfusions, all these things. She ends up being dead. And then it shifts gears to kind of give you what's happening with Renfield. So Renfield is now in the sanatorium. He's got this obsession with eating like small, bugs, insects.
Because he doesn't want to eat people. Like
correct.
The thing that becomes part of every teenage girl vampire. In fact, he's a good person. He doesn't want to eat humans. So he's eating on other small rodents and stuff. Right.
Right. And then Van Helsing analyzes his blood. And then by analyzing his blood, he can tell what his problem is. Renfield actually begs Dr. Seward to be sent away to the sanatorium. Dracula calls Renfield, but he uses it through the sound of a wolf, because we start to learn back then the lore of vampires is that they can take the shape of bats, which we've seen, or wolves.
Yeah, and Renfield is menacing, and then you got the comic relief of the fucking nurse and the guy that's his his handler, his gatekeeper guy, steward, the orderly guy, whatever his name was, Martin, I think was his name.
Yep, I think so.
And they watch him, but it's always funny because they have like the kind of accent to make them kind of be like the goofball idiot people.
Yep.
Part of the gig.
Yep.
Well, anyways, Lucy dies, and then fucking Dracula meets them and is infatuated with fucking Mina, and then he does the same thing to her, I believe.
Yep. He goes into her room, bites her. So they notice as they're meeting, that Mina's not feeling very well. She starts talking about this really vivid dream that she had. She's wearing a scarf around her neck. Dr. Van Helsing and everybody is talking to her about her dream. It's very, very specific. It's very vivid. They asked her to remove the scarf, and they noticed the two marks in her neck. She's acting kind of weird. Dracula enters the room. They start talking. John Harker, he opens up one of those classic like cigarette boxes, like a case, and there's a mirror on it. And as they're talking, they notice the legend that we know if you follow vampires, that Dracula has no reflection in the mirror box.
Yeah, and that leads up to the scene. Like the dialogue, it's just between him and Van Helsing is fantastic.
It's amazing.
There's a lot of tension, and you can tell they're battling wits a little bit. And then at some point, he opens up the box, and then Dracula notices that what he tried to get him to do to see this reflection, and that's when he smacks the fucking box down, and the tension is really built. And he says, "I asked Van Helsing basically why I did that," and he leaves the room.
Yep. Yeah, it's wild because at that time, especially if you don't know anything about the Dracula, the lore of vampires, like now you're learning some of these things that we've known since day one. The garlic or the wolf's bane that they use in this to keep them away, and the crosses and all those things. So Mina is in her room. She ends up leaving her room, and she runs to Dracula in the garden where he attacks her. The maid finds her. They think she's dead. John wants to get out of there, take her to London, but they're convinced to leave her with Van Helsing. Van Helsing orders the nurse to take care of her. So they tell her to make sure that she doesn't open up any doors, any windows, and don't allow her to remove the wolfsbane. Have her wear it around her neck.
Yeah.
Because at that time, what we use nowadays, we talk about garlic. Back then, they were using what they call wolfsbane.
Yeah. And so while they're like watching her somewhat, there's still always comic relief with fucking Renfield.
Oh, Renfield's the best.
And the orderly guy. But at some point, Dracula, Van Helsing explains to everybody that Dracula is the vampire and what he is and what they need to do and how they're going to try to stop him.
Yep.
And then they eventually have a conversation, him and Van Helsing. And Van Helsing tells him he's going to fucking put a stake through his heart when he's sleeping. But they can't figure out where he's been sleeping. So that's the problem.
Yep.
And at some point, they find out Renfield has escaped and Dracula has taken Mina and they've left. And so basically now the only way to find them is follow Renfield. And they find a secret passageway into Dracula's place where Dracula went with Mina, and it's now getting to be daytime. So they're going into their coffins.
Right. And then when Dracula is on the staircase with Renfield and Dracula realizes that those men have now followed him to the castle, he's convinced, he thinks that Renfield is a traitor and lured them to the castle.
Yep.
So in a very dramatic scene, Dracula pushes Renfield down the stairs, and it is the worst acting job of someone falling down the stairs.
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
It reminds me of, "Hey, Stu, you're right, Stu, motherfucker." And then pulling that phone
down the stairs. So either,
yeah, you conscious. That's how bad that tumble was. Like
it was fucking so bad. I'm like, this movie is like pristine, and
then he falls off the side. He doesn't go all the way.
Exactly. Yes.
So Renfield is basically assumed dead, and then they follow Mina and Dracula, and they see that Dracula's in a coffin, but Mina's coffin is empty.
Yep.
So they're like, because he was going to kill them both.
Yep.
He breaks some piece of wood, and you can hear it almost like it was kind of like creepy when he stakes Dracula in the background. You don't see it.
Oh, ooh.
I don't know what was going on there, but Mina was not in the coffin, and by staking Dracula, Mina supposedly saved. He says something like, "Oh, come over," and then the movie just ends abruptly.
So that's what I was going to say. That's a huge difference between nowadays, because you know that if this was made today, and they've obviously made modern versions of Dracula, that they'd be like the next day, and you'd see, okay, what has Mina become? What did they discover about Dracula? What are they going to do now with the castle? The movie all of a sudden just said, like, Mina becomes herself, like hugs, everybody, and it's like the end, and that's it.
Yeah.
Just like you said, abrupt ending.
Yeah, I mean, again, I wasn't looking for like, oh my God, this storyline is so, like, I knew what I was getting myself into.
Right.
I still, the filming, Bela Lugosi and his acting and his accent, and I still like this movie and seeing this on Halloween. For me, it works.
Yeah, it's captivating, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. I can't imagine, a younger. I mean, I can't imagine your daughter enjoying this movie.
Nope. Because they don't know what the history of movies are. They just look at it.
Right,
and especially fucking horrible.
And especially with horror movies, or not even a horror movie, just movies in general. Everything is so go, scene, action. Like I said earlier, this is a very deliberate movie, but that's kind of the point of it.
Yeah, I will say there will be another 2 movies that come up that we're going to be doing soon.
Yep.
That subtext and plot and other aspects of the movie are beyond this.
Well, I was just going to.
This is pretty straightforward. That guy's a vampire.
So
it doesn't explore, like, why is he chasing Mina? Why is he doing? There's more of that in Dracula, the book. Okay, about reincarnating, that's his love, and that's it. There's way more to it. They kind of just skip all that and make this basic. That's a vampire. He's a bad guy. He's going to try to kill people.
It's almost like the equivalent of like the original Halloween with Michael Myers. He's the boogeyman. He kills people. Okay. And then when you watch Halloween 6, you're like, okay, this is why he does all this.
Yeah.
So
there's a
this is very
context.
Yeah. This is the Dracula movie is very surface level. He's a vampire. He likes to suck the blood of women or whoever. And this is what you're going to get. There's a couple other movies, one in particular we're going to get to, where, like you said, the subtext, the kind of story theories or what they're trying to convey is much deeper than
way deeper.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the theme of Dracula can be just as deep. Eternal love, eternity, living forever, drinking blood is the life. You can do that.
Sure.
It's just not in this movie.
No, not at all. No.
So the things that stick out in this movie, I'm going to just say the cinematography.
Yep.
I think Dwight Frye is fantastic.
Absolutely.
And Bela Lugosi's iconic portrayal of Dracula.
Yeah.
But plot-wise, other actors and stuff, the
one thing I like about it, it's pretty quick. It's an hour and 15, which is nice. Because I don't think this movie could have been any longer, because they kind of, I mean, it actually could have been shorter if you want to say that, because there are times where you're like, okay, I get it. What are we doing next? Mm-hmm. But again, the movie is beautifully shot. There are some really, really memorable scenes. I mean, me and you both love the black and white classic movies itself. I really like kind of the unsettling frames of some of the shots, and especially the fact that there's pretty much zero music at all, to me, is very unsettling. So,
yeah. And the other part to it's always fascinating is they would do this movie, and at nighttime they would shoot and film the Spanish version of this movie. Yeah. Same like different actors, same set, same everything, and just do the okay, comprende, okay, see, let's do this, Dracula.
The other thing, a little bit of trivia before we wrap up, the original movie poster for this movie, the original painting of this poster, sold for $525,000 at an auction. It is the most expensive movie poster ever in the history of posters. Yeah.
Really? I got a couple kiss posters
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that. Yes.
from the Alive 2 concert.
One other thing before we wrap up, I just want to say this. I was blown away at the budget for this.
Yeah.
The budget for this was over $300,000. You know how much fucking money that is in 1931?
It's probably on set location. The film that fucking castle.
Yeah, exactly.
And shit like that.
There are horror movies. Yeah, there are horror movies made now for less than that, like found footage movies and shit. So I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. This was fun, Tom. I hope. I can't wait to do the next one.
Yep.
But till next time, peace out, Girl Scout. Oh, you over here? Yeah, I'm over here now.
Zeus, it's me. I want to end the show now.
Jesus Christ, Tom. Jesus Christ. Let's end the show now while we got the muscle.